joining the Loudr Lawyer Network, the podcast where we sit down with the law firm owners, attorneys, and visionaries that are making the most noise in the legal landscape nationwide to find out the secrets to their success. Other podcasts think they're getting loud, but we're getting louder. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Loudr Lawyer Network, where we help attorneys scale to $1 million months through powerful strategies and connections. This afternoon, I have none other than Logan Quirk. Attorney Logan Quirk, welcome to Loudr Lawyer Network.
Hey, Raje, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Hey, man. Hey, I appreciate you. You're quite an accomplished attorney. We'll get into that. But I want you to take me back to the moments before you ever decide to be an attorney, before that thought ever crossed your mind. Take me back to let's go back to college, or as you can remember.
So the question is, what was I doing before becoming an attorney, or what I wanted to do?
However you want to answer that. What moments? Take me
Okay.
back to the moments before you ever became an attorney, before that was even a thought.
Yeah. So I always figured some type of grad school was in my future, probably because I do like school, and I was fortunate enough to have some good education in high school. So I didn't know the path, and then I had a few lawyers in my family, an uncle who was a defense attorney, and my brother who's 6 years older than me that went into law school. So that was kind of the path I saw forward, and it got cemented in college. But even before that, I always had this dream to be a sports writer because I love sports, but I'm just not an athlete. So I always thought about being a sports writer, and especially I grew up in the 90s, so watching the Bulls and MJ, that was to this day. I mean, I'm MJ all day, man. So I'm sorry that GOAT argument for me. There's no LeBron. It's all MJ. So short answer, sports writer. I love Kobe, man, but it's still MJ. 6 rings, never went to a game 7. You know,
right. Yeah, no arguments there.
For me, the one stat is, if you got one possession to win the game, who are you giving the ball to? That's how I validate that argument. But I do understand LeBron's. I think he's amazing. What he's doing is incredible, unheard of. The longevity, the points, all the records. Just it's 1A, 1B. But because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, I'm an MJ guy. So going back to that, sports writer. I did get a degree in international relations because I do like international relations, and I thought somehow I'd be able to parlay that into a career. But then I looked at my options, and they're boring, and there wasn't too much money involved. And I'm not gonna lie, I did want to make some money, so saw what my brother was doing and decided to go to law school from Santa Barbara. Took 6-7 months off in between law school, lived in Vegas, worked with my brother who was a lawyer and interned there, and then jumped into law school. And that's kind of all she wrote, I guess.
Nice. So you said a couple things there that I pay attention to. You were in Santa Barbara.
Said a lot of things there, didn't I?
Yeah, Santa Barbara, man. Tell me about Santa Barbara.
You know, Santa Barbara's got a reputation as when I was going there, and even before that, as a party school. If I applied there today, there's not a chance in hell I could get in because the school has gotten so selective, and it's gotten a lot of renown for it. But probably one of the most beautiful campuses in the country. It's right in Ivy, Isla Vista on the beach. And one of the best, it's north of Santa Barbara a little bit, but near one of the best cities, in my biased opinion, in the country. So going to school there was absolutely a privilege, incredible. And nice. It's just like, it can't be understated.
Okay. So you're in Santa Barbara with all that atmosphere around there. I know about Fiesta that happens.
Yeah, Fiestas and the Solstice Parade, and Ivy's really famous for the Halloween party. So yeah. I know all about that stuff.
So you get through. You're third generation lawyer, right? In your family, third generation.
I'm trying to think if I have a Lawyer that's like in my grandparents' generation. I don't think so. So my brother and my uncle are the two other lawyers in our family. My uncle is retired. So I think we would be second generation. I
Okay,
might have
second.
one somewhere in the blood somewhere, but not that comes to mind.
Um, so when you practice law, you went to law school. What was your immediate? What type of law did you immediately want to go into when you got through law school?
That it was more of a process of deselection for me. So I did intern at a few spots, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I don't know here because a lot of these things aren't looking too attractive for me." So I really didn't know until probably my second or third year that I was going to go into personal injury. My brother had opened up an office, and I started working with him, and because of the economy in 2008, it pretty much tailored his practice to personal injury. A lot of the hourly clients weren't able to pay anymore. And so that kind of directed and navigated where I got into, and I loved it. It was the ability to help out people, the good old David-versus-Goliath story, underdog, representing clients who are hurt, who are devastated, have life-altering injuries, or even some clients that don't have life-altering injuries that just need some help, someone to hear them, someone to push back against the insurance company. So that narrative I can get with all day. And, if you do it right, you can do some good in the world and make some money while you're doing some good. So that has been something that has resonated a lot with me.
Yeah, that was so elegantly put, man. Tell me about your first PI case. Your first PI case. What do you remember about it? The good, the bad, and the ugly.
I don't remember really my first PI case because I was pretty lucky. I got to walk into a firm that had several cases ongoing. But I do remember one of my first cases I took on when I branched out on my own. And it's kind of a funny story that I can tell, but it was a pedicab injury in San Diego. And this guy was run over by a pedicab. And a pedicab is a bicycle that carries passengers for fare. And he got hit, and we were able to get the policy limits. I didn't even know pedicabs had insurance, but it was something I learned. Great client, really nice guy, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, got drilled by a pedicab. And so that was
the actual vehicle or the means of
ran
transportation
into him. Yeah, the operator like I don't know how he rode into someone, but he did. So I was able to get the policy limits on that case, and still remember the client's name, Daniel Flores. Really great guy, and that was one of my first cases. Great result for a great person. And the backstory behind that is when I first started my firm in San Diego, I was pretty broke. So I figured, hey, these pedicabs look kind of fun. I got a job riding one, and I did it for about 3 weeks.
Hey,
I was riding it before I got this case, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't last too long because I was up to like 2 or 3 o'clock at night, and you're only getting paid on tips. And I was competing against people that were a lot prettier than me. And I just was like, I can't do this anymore. It was a cool story to tell, a lot of fun. I still have the business license that says attorney, pedicab operator. So that is kind of one of the backstories.
You were operating the pedicab while you were practicing law?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's humbling, and that's a beautiful story at the same time. I'm in San Diego, by the way.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I was riding in a gas lamp in the East Village, man. So exactly what I'm talking about.
No, those pedicabs coming through with the music blaring and weaving in and out of traffic. I mean, I know
crazy, huh?
Oh man, it's like.
But I had to do it before they had the pedicab. So even those little slight inclines, I know San Diego's pretty flat, but going to like Little Italy would be a slight incline, and it was like, oh man. And I also did it to I was younger, so I was like, oh, I'll save some money by not going out on the weekends and do this and make money instead. But I didn't make much money. I think I made probably $20 a night on average. So it was cool. I got some exercise and met some people. So it was fun.
Hey, That's an important thing, and maybe that kind of helped build your business too. It's a great way to market.
Yeah, you know what the primary thing was like, hey, you got to stop doing this and just go all in. And if you fail, it's okay, because I'm gonna have options either way. And having that comfort of being able to know you can fail and you'll rebound, because I do have, I'm blessed. I don't believe anyone is self-made. I think community makes people, and
Mm,
I was able to leverage some connections and slowly but surely start getting a business. And it's, you know, almost 20 years into this, and you still can't take your foot off the throttle, because there's some years that go, clients don't always come and the money might slow down. So you always have to reinvent yourself and try new things, tinker and see what works and what doesn't work, but always rely on the principles that got you to where you are.
right. That's well said, man. The fact that you talked about being blessed, it's like, whole walking in faith, just knowing that at the end of the day, no matter where you're going, it's always going to be right if your intent is purposeful.
100%. Right intention, you'll do the right thing.
No, that's beautiful, man. And you're wearing it well. 20 years? You opened your first firm in 2012?
No, so I became first licensed in 2008. So I 18 years. Sorry, my math is incorrect, but I've been in the legal business for 20 years, licensed as an attorney, 18, California, Nevada, and Montana.
Oh, so you're in all three of those places. Very nice.
Yeah, a little bit, primarily California, but I do selectively take on some cases when the opportunity arises in the other states.
Right. What has been the hardest challenge in opening your own firm, in starting your firm? What were some of the early challenges that you came across?
Getting clients. Like when you first start out, you have time, energy, but you don't always have clientele. I know a lot of people probably built up more networks and maybe had more clients calling them, but just going and trying to develop relationships with people that will refer you business and be good revenue streams. Also money, a lot of getting clients is about spending money and spending it correctly and wisely. And that's an ongoing training in my mind, because it always changes, especially with AI, and then SEO and all that stuff has changed so much, so quickly now. And being on top of that, and there's so many ways to spend money, knowing where to spend it effectively. And then the competition, there's so much competition in this space, and it's very expensive to play in this space. So you have to decide, do you want to advertise, or do you want to try and do it the old school way of just being in professional networks, leveraging connections, being a good person, and building it however you can. So I would say those three.
And you lead me right into where I want you to go. You have a philosophy that you've kind of built. Give me your philosophy on marketing. You've spoken about branding, law firm growth, digital marketing, networking, referrals, adapting during the economic turndowns. Give me your philosophy on that.
I think
share a little knowledge with us.
I'm not by any stretch the best marketing attorney. There's so many better ones that come to mind. Think of people on the commercials, but I think as long as you're authentic, you have fun, and you're willing to adapt and be open to trying new ideas, and just not being something you aren't. So, like if you're a suit and tie guy, great. If you're not, own it. I think when I was younger, I was more concerned about what people might have thought about me, and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. There are other attorneys for other people, but my philosophy on marketing is just have fun doing it, enjoy it, because it can be fun. It also can be stressful, but if you're authentic, people will see that you're true, that your results speak for yourself, and do right by the client. I mean, you can be the best marketing person, But if you don't have good client results or you have terrible reviews, then obviously it's not going to translate into good service experience for other people. So there's a two-part component, the marketing, but also the services, and the two go hand in hand.
Right. They most definitely do. When you with your cases that you've had, how many cases have you had to actually litigate and get in front of a jury, or do you take the route of settling? You know, there's a reputation that not with you, but most attorneys in the PI
Yeah, I
space
think there's a lag here.
Huh?
Sorry, man. I think my internet out here in the sticks is not working so well.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll deal with it. But did you hear what I said? I said, are you a litigating attorney? Or do you just wait for settlements? Or do you go and fight? You there? We have these little technical difficulties. It's all right. Logan, you still there?
Sorry, man. Can you hear me?
All right. No, yeah.
Good.
Did you hear my last question?
You said we are gonna have technical issues, and lo and behold, my internet crapped out. So I got to talk to Elon about that. My Starlink isn't working out here. So the question was, what I heard was, what percent of my cases are litigated in trial? I try and make sure that my clients' expectations are met. A lot of clients don't want to have to go through litigation, but I'm also not going to leave money on the table where I think the insurance company is messing around. So I do litigate. I think over the last years, more cases are going into litigation because insurance companies are tightening their pocketbooks, knuckling down, and have poisoned the jury pool. I don't go to trial as often as other attorneys. I will, but it's not my favorite experience. And there's a lot of attorneys that love trial, and I understand it. It's fun, but for me, the prep, the lead up, and the stress is not as fun as other attorneys have doing it. So, if I have a case that does require trial, of course we're gonna get get dirty. But for the most part, I would say litigation. I would probably a third to a half of my cases end up being litigated now. Unfortunately, it's oftentimes it's the insurance company is the common obstacle there.
Right. In terms of attorneys, and I'm not. This is from a human perspective. This question: what makes you different than other attorneys?
You know, that's a hard question too, because we all offer the same services. There's tons of great attorneys. I don't think there's any one thing that sets me apart from other attorneys. But what I do is I like to make sure that my clients have a very seamless experience. I want them to have a stress-free experience, and I want their objectives to be met. If it's a big money case or if it's a small case, I want to understand and listen to what their objectives are, because not every client just wants the most money. And sitting back and absorbing and listening to that helps me learn what that person needs. So I don't know if that makes me different than other attorneys, but I think that's what I have learned to do well. And when I first started, this wasn't something that was innate to me. These are learned experiences and learned strategies. So I know it's a long-winded answer on what sets me apart, but that's the best I can give you, man.
Hey, it's honesty, man. What I'm seeing through and through is that you lead with empathy in whatever the case is. You're not bashing. You're being open and honest and direct. There is no wrong answer. It's only truth. Your truth. You know, as you see.
Yeah.
So never apologize for something that is inside your heart. Seriously.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard. It's just hard to articulate that, because you always get that question from people that are trying to do marketing for you, and you're like, it's such a hard question to answer, because the truth is not one attorney is ever going to be totally, I mean, there are definitely distinct attorneys, but we all do the same thing. We all have the same, at some point, same selling point. So I think you said it most eloquently. Lead with what's in here and speak with what's in here, and then it's going to translate into how well you do for your client.
Absolutely. Along that same line. Why do some lawyers, in your opinion, because you host a podcast, so you pull things together, so I'm going to ask you this question. Why do some lawyers stay invisible while others become brands?
I'm sorry, what was the last part? Why others become?
Brands.
I think it's often a personal choice. It's getting in front of a camera and talking. I'm naturally kind of shy and introverted, but I've become a lot more comfortable, and I started a podcast a few years back. So even being the interviewer, man, that's nerve-wracking for me. And we were talking about it off camera. It's hard. You got to listen, and most importantly, like you said, you have to prepare and do your homework. So you're asking intelligent questions and steering the conversation in a pretty nice manner. So why do people become brands? I think one, because it helps stand out. And that's probably one of the reasons you guys named this Loudr, to help stand out, to help disrupt, to help make yourself known. Why do
I like that. Disrupt.
I was thinking about that. And why do others kind of stay behind the curtain? Because a lot of people don't like to be in the limelight. A lot of people are comfortable with anonymity. In my personal life, I'm very private, and I don't put a lot of personal things out on social media and things of that nature. It's all affiliated with my business. So I understand the people that have a brand, but I also understand the people that don't want to promote themselves, because I think it's hard, it's uncomfortable, takes a lot of time. It's not just turn on a camera and, oh, now I'm a brand. There has to be a strategy, there has to be consistency, there has to be content, and it is a lot of work. So I think probably that's why some people choose to remain invisible, because they're comfortable with where they're at and they don't see the need to have to develop themselves into a brand.
That's I had the camera on you right there. Like when you said that part right there, that's a marketing piece for you right there, man. That's a marketing piece. What you just said. You'll get the playback on this, but the way you put that, you didn't stumble. It flowed like water. It flowed.
It's because it's Friday, man. I'm sitting here listening to a river flow behind me, so I guess I'm absorbing it by osmosis.
See, there it is, man. Like water. There's no accidents. There's always intent and purpose, no matter where we are. You said you're out in the sticks. Where are you at? Montana right now?
I am, yes.
Wow, man. I've never been. I bet it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's summer is really pretty up here. So yeah. Where are you at? I didn't ask you that. Are you? Oh, you told me you're in San Diego.
Yeah, I'm in San Diego.
There I go. Not listening again.
No, I'm in San Diego, between LA and San Diego. I'm
okay.
I go back and forth. I'm gonna stick with marketing for a little bit, because that's what we do here, and I'd like to know about what marketing advice would you never follow again? You personally, what marketing advice would you never follow again? Something that someone may have told you, this is how you gotta build, Logan. This is what I did, and
Good question, man. I'm trying to think of some bad advice I got. I don't really, I never really given bad advice. But if someone tells you this is the only thing you have to do, that's wrong. There's so many things you have to do to market. There are some people that develop a good, consistent revenue stream, but sometimes it chokes, sometimes it dies. So you got to have a few others to fill that void. So there's never a silver bullet. Anyone that says, hey, this is a silver bullet, we're going to get you 15 to 20 new leads in a week. Like, unless you're paying top dollar for those leads, it's a slow burn, not a a silver bullet that's going to solve all your problems, at least in my opinion. I don't also spend a ton of money on marketing like some of the other big boys do. So they might have a different experience than me. But if you're more of the common smaller firms with a smaller marketing budget, I think having your hands in different areas and having different baskets to pull from is going to be more consistent, and you're going to have better quality cases coming through. So avoid people selling you, I'm going to solve all your marketing needs for you by doing X, X, and X.
Right. Shifting gears here, I'm gonna go to insurance company. What's the biggest misconception people have or attorneys have with dealing with insurance companies?
Well, for people, they've done such a great job branding themselves, and they're, I was watching, what's that commercial? The Progressive commercial, young homeowners becoming their parents. I mean, this shit's funny, man. It's great,
Oh man, it's
it's
so creative.
catchy. Yeah, and so the branding is on point. A lot of people hear the message that, hey, they're going to take care of you, and sometimes insurance companies or some insurance adjusters within the companies will actually make an effort to be reasonable. But in my experience, that's largely not the case, and that's an outlier basis. Their job is to make themselves money and to make sure that this claim goes away for as cheaply as possible, as quick as possible. So the biggest misconception is that insurance adjusters are going to treat you fairly and compensate you in a fair and just way. And it's going to be painless because they're trained to tell you all the right things until it comes time to pay. The biggest misconception with, I think, attorneys, I don't know. I think we all understand what insurance companies are. There's a reason they're billion-dollar corporations.
Right.
And, so I think maybe on the other side that they probably think insurance companies are a lot more reasonable and we're the unreasonable ones. So, there's probably that divergence of opinions, but I would say for the most part, if you pull every personal injury attorney, they're going to say insurance companies are nothing short of the devil.
Oh, that's deep right there. What do adjusters hope injured people don't know?
That they can go get treatment, that they can get paid for their damages, including medical bills, loss of earnings, their general damages, which people know as pain and suffering. What insurance companies want you to do is to be uninformed and to be overwhelmed and to sign a piece of paper because you give up and you're stressed out, or you say the wrong thing because you think you have to give them a statement. You think you have to sign these medical authorizations. You think you have to comply with everything that they send you. And that's just not the case all the time. There are certain requirements in certain jurisdictions that, of course, you have to comply with. And that's why it's always advisable to talk to an attorney in any situation before you start trying to navigate it. I always say, like, hey, I can probably go on YouTube and learn how to fix my leaky pipe under my sink. And it's gonna, maybe I might do it, but knowing me, because I'm not super handy, I'm probably gonna make it worse, and I'm gonna end up having to call a plumber, and I probably just exacerbated a problem that could have been a simple fix. So, since I can't say every personal injury attorney, since most personal injury attorneys provide free consultations, I've yet to come across one that hasn't, but it's always advisable. Take 20 minutes, call him, ask him, call her. So I shouldn't just say him. Call a personal injury attorney. Make sure that you're getting good advice. And if you have any questions, always reach out. And now there's so much information available on the internet. Do your homework before getting into bed with an insurance company or thinking you can do it yourself. Because you can do it yourself, but you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. And sometimes what you think is the right way is not the right way.
Right. It's like going to change my oil in my car. I think it's a simple way to do it, but you got to change the filter. You got to make sure, you got to know the level of oil you're putting in, Yeah. I did it myself, and, the engine falls out. Right. So
I hope not, man. That's time to
No,
call the
that
mechanic.
happened to me. True story.
Oh,
True story. I had it was a little Volkswagen I had, and I thought, I just had to have a quart of oil. I wasn't aware that you needed 5 quarts of oil. I would go with the little steady quart and be like, oh man, I got my oil. It's good. Not realizing that you need the whole 9 in order to keep the car running strong.
I one of my first cars, because I would just burn so much oil, and I would just add oil. Like it was probably always like flooded or too full. But one of my first cars, I think I had some residue oil on the engine block, and my brother was driving it, and it caught fire. And he was like, "Call me." He's like, "Hey, dude," I was in college at the time. He's like, "Hey, your car burnt down." I was like, "Oh, okay." Cool. I mean, it was like it was an old Toyota Camry, like a 90 Toyota Camry, but I was like, oh, that sucks. So there, we both have car stories.
Oh yeah, man. No, the car stories, man, that I could go on and on about that one. Tell me about a loss. When you're practicing law, you have wins and you have losses. Tell me about a loss that ultimately made you a better attorney.
Let's see. What's one loss that there was a recent one? It was a tough case, and it involved a lady who was severely injured, and she was hit by someone who was drunk that had come from what I thought was an employee party. So I was trying to allege course and scope of employment due to providing alcohol at a job site for a Christmas party. I was unable. I had interviewed so many witnesses, and they told me, "Oh yeah, this is what went down," and so I went to depose them, and their story changed. And so I learned what you got to be very careful, because people will either change their story under sworn testimony, and I even had recordings, and some of them, like contemporaneous notes, I didn't record them without their permission. And I was like, "Are you sure?" Like trying to rehab them. And so that taught me to not always trust witnesses who you think you have in the bag, because they can definitely throw you for a loop. And I was in deposition, and the defense attorney's eyes, he had a smile on his face, and he could tell I was not expecting their story to change. So I ended up, I either got MSJ'd on that case, or I had to settle because I just couldn't prove that case. So make sure that when you have a witness testimony in the bag, it's not always in the bag until it's sealed after deposition or on trial. So that, and don't always believe everything people tell you, because unfortunately people don't always tell the truth on all fronts. And so you have to have a healthy degree of susceptibility or skepticism. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. I was listening to these guys float down the river. Skepticism of what people are telling you. So you want to prove, you want to be able to listen, but go ahead and make sure you can prove it.
Right. What's the hardest conversation you've ever had to have with a client?
After a loss, like, hey, why, you're thinking, Monday morning quarterbacking, like, what could I have done differently? What did I do wrong? And, sometimes you don't make the right decisions, but having that conversation with the client about not getting the result that you expected can be tough. Excuse me. When you have a client that sometimes you just have a disagreement with, just having, like, saying, hey, you know what? Obviously we have divergent viewpoints here. And sometimes it's better to go find another lawyer, because you're not going to get along. You're not going to always see eye to eye with everyone. So those conversations can be hard when you realize that your philosophy isn't necessarily in tune with this client's expectations, or this client is not fully trusting you as an attorney, and you're starting to hear that. So I think it's okay to have those conversations, but they're always difficult. You never want to give up a case, but I've become more in tune with it's better to make sure that you're having these conversations early on, communicating, because some things can be solved through communications, but if they can't, then you need to have the options on the table, and that option may include going and finding another attorney who may see something you didn't see and get a better result, and that's happened with me in the past. Kudos to that, but it's happened too many times. But having a client go to another attorney can also be good, because sometimes a different voice is what's needed in the room. So I would say those are the two most difficult conversations to have.
Man, your humility in just that statement right there. I mean, I'm saying you're leading with your heart. You have an empathy approach. From my perspective, on what I'm listening to right now, never met you before. I did a little homework on you, but to be here talking to you and having moments where you're lost in the matrix of Montana, because we've had that silence, but I'm tuned in because I'm looking at your face and know that you're all there, knowing that you're all there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. This is a fun conversation. You're really good at this, and I'm taking notes for when I do my next season of podcasting. I'm always stealing from people, so thank you for letting me sit in. I'm gaining more than you are.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure or my honor to be able to share with you. Because it's a value that we all need to have as human beings. Being do unto others you'd want them to do unto you. Love your neighbors. You're my neighbor. Love your neighbors like you love yourself. That's what Christ said. And that's a piece of me that's always there. Didn't really know until you know what I mean? And it's much better to be in that. I found for myself that moving in that way has opened doors even when it's closed, and even if they don't open, I still have that sense of peace, and it's a very beautiful
100%. I don't know if your experience is the same, but that's, for me, has come with a little bit of age, getting a little more wise. I'm not gonna say I'm super wise, but definitely did not always have that approach in my earlier years. There was some probably degree of arrogance, and I thought I knew how to do everything. But as I've become a little older, I've developed a slight bit more of humility, and I appreciate that message that you shared.
Oh, absolutely, man. You see it. See, I felt it. I saw it in you, man. What principles guide your decision when nobody is watching?
I kind of was thinking about this last night, and I didn't even know that this question was going to be raised. And I just, don't be an asshole. Like, if someone, just don't be an asshole to people. It doesn't mean don't be a pushover. You got to stick up for yourself when someone else is pushing unnecessarily or being aggravating or annoying. You don't want to be a pushover, but you got to go through the world and do right and be nice and be a good human. So if you're a good human and you try and operate in that way, then I believe you're going to receive even more in abundance.
Well said. Well said. So we touched a little bit. We're going into like the personal Logan right here. And in terms of being human and being the attorney, what habit has had the biggest impact? What habit that you have has had the biggest impact on your career?
That's a really good question, and I'm developing an answer, but I'm gonna say just being able to be open and willing to tinker a little bit, take a risk, but take a calculated risk. I mean, you don't want to take big swings all the time and miss. You gotta connect a few times if your baseball's your metaphor, but you got to do your homework. you got to be willing to go out on the limb to get the fruit, but you also have to mitigate your risk as well and make
Go
sure
out
that
the
you're
limb, the fruit. I like that.
uh,
In
that
my mind, from where I'm from, when I think about the fruit, again, you're just taking me down the path. I'm the reflection. I think about the fruit of the spirit, the love, the joy, the peace, right? The
yeah.
kindness, the gentleness, right? The faithfulness, and then the self-control.
Yeah, so that that kind of helps articulate where I was going. Be true to yourself, and your true self will help you in your business. If you're, like I said earlier, if dressing up in a suit and tie is your thing, great, do that every day. If you like to wear a t-shirt to work, some people are probably not going to like that, but own it. I mean, at some point you got to dress nice, but your true self always has to come through. If you're an introvert, it's okay. A lot of people don't mind people who aren't outgoing, and just always be comfortable with who you are. And I didn't fully embrace that probably until 10 years ago. And I think once you are comfortable in your own skin, like as Atticus Finch would say, you got to be comfortable in your own skin, then you're going to be a lot more successful professionally and personally in your relationships, in your business, and just have a more fulfilled life.
Right. No, well said, man. Well said. So look at it's give you a scenario. It's a trial day. You're going to trial for one of your clients. It's a big day for you. And I'm sure you've done this over and over again. What do you do to get prepared? What's your regiment like before you're walking into trial?
I'm probably not drinking coffee that day. I'm probably not eating breakfast because I don't want to have any. I already got nerves. I mean, even when I still go into court, like for doing a personal appearance, I still get the nerves a little bit before I start talking to the judge. So there's that first initial anxiety. Like I don't, like public speaking, I do not like it. And it's hard for me, and I get nervous. I still get nervous whenever I do something. Um, so I'm gonna do everything I can to mitigate that. I'm gonna probably definitely go to sleep the night before as much as I can. Um, but I'm probably gonna listen to depends on, like, in the car, it's either gonna be classical music, or if I need to get pumped up, it's probably gonna be some hip hop or some like angry, like Rage Against the Machine. I don't know. But I'm definitely gonna be playing something to get me in the place or in the mindset I need to be in.
I can relate with you with the classical, man. Classical is calming for me because if you're taking the time and you're meditating and you're being in that moment, classical, if you're really listening to the different instruments and the changes, take you on a journey within the music that's playing, and it puts your mind at ease. Have you found that?
I don't have that great of an ear for music, but I just find it cathartic and calming. And sometimes I need less noise in my life, and I know it's noise, but it's like white noise to me, and it just allows me to be a little more present.
That's well said. Well said. I'm thinking about from a client's perspective. If we can shift there. Has a client ever changed the way you look at life?
Oh yeah, I without a doubt, 100%. One of my favorite clients is in San Diego, and Dave. I won't say his last name, but Dave, Big Dave, man. He just had this joy that was infectious, and he just got up every day thankful to be in the position he was in spite of what he had been through, and he had gone through some pretty traumatic shit. So seeing him was like, hey man, if this guy can put a smile on his face, go coach his girls basketball team, be doing charity work, and just so happy, and just joyful, man. And I'm not the most joyous person, and I can be cynical sometimes. So it was a reminder to just be happy with what you have. Not everyone has the opportunity to be happy. And I said it earlier, I am so damn blessed and privileged to have the life I have. And I definitely would not have what I have without the people around me. So, I just, as I'm getting older, I think I'm reflecting a little bit, and I'm becoming a lot more grateful for what I have. And I try and remind myself of that every day.
Right. You keep saying as you're getting older, I'm looking at you. I'm like, man, you don't look a
I
day
got a
over
hat
30.
on, man. So
You don't look a day over 30, man.
well, I
I'm
appreciate that.
61. I'm 61.
Hey, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, man. I'm 40. I'll be 44 this year, so
Okay.
I'm 17 years behind you.
Okay. Okay. Hey, you're wearing it well. You're wearing it well,
Thank you.
family.
Same to you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Are you married? Family?
I'm not technically married. I call her my wife, but we've been together for 10 years. Talk about someone who's very private. So that I understand the privacy. She does not like to be. I mean, she's very outgoing, but she doesn't like to be have her life exposed. So
Right.
that harkens back to me understanding people's need for anonymity.
Right. Okay. So you're like you're married. You're dedicated to that. It leads me to this question. I was going to say, are you a father?
No, unfortunately not. But we have a lot of nieces and nephews, and so I have a lot of love in my life, and I have been like a father figure to a lot of the nieces and nephews. So I am privileged that way.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. In saying that, I want to say, what kind of legacy or impact would you want your firm to leave behind?
That's a really good question. I know there's a lot of people that want their name to live on. I don't really care if my name lives on, because I'm not gonna know once I'm gone. Like what my name did. I just want to. It goes back to impact. What can I do to impact the people that I have interactions with? And there are a lot of people that make bigger impacts than me. But if I can be a good person, smile at someone, say, "Hey, how you doing?" That may change their day. If I can have an impact on my nieces and nephews and help them through some situations, hopefully they remember that and improve their lot in life. Great. But as far as my firm, I just want to have a good firm, make sure the employees are taken care of, and provide a valuable service for clients that truly deserve to have their expectations and objectives met.
Very well said. Elegant, man. Elegant. I like that. So I was playing around with your name. I do this. I said you're the third client that I've done this before, because I was looking at what you were doing, and I'll get to some of those later. I know you do the podcast as well, but LOGAN, Logan. I came up with the first part that I've noticed about you: listening. You listen before leading. Ownership of every client's fight, big or small. The G, grit, when the case gets difficult. Um, Advocacy with compassion. You seem very compassionate about your clients and just about life, and where you're at and that truth. And then in nobility, in serving others. You love to serve others. You put that out there. So that's the acronym. It was listening, ownership, grit, advocacy, and nobility.
Hey man, that's touching. I got the chills. Thank you so much for that. I don't even know how to respond to that, except to say that you're very creative, man. That's very, very humbling and inspiring, and wow, thank you.
No, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Absolutely. When you hear the term Loudr Lawyer, before I go into ask you that, right now, where do you see Logan Quirk's firm going? What would you like to see happen in the next, say, 5 to 10 years with your firm? How many cases do you do right now?
Good question. I'm a small firm. and I think I have 5 or 6 employees, and I used to want to be taken into a direction to grow, but I like where I'm at size wise. So I want to have consistency with growth. And I know those are two vague terms that everyone's probably going to say, but I want to grow responsibly, and I want to make sure that I have the employees I have now long term, and that I'm turning a firm over to them if I ever choose to leave. And I always have these conversations with myself because I don't always want to be a lawyer. There's a lot of other things I want to do. Um,
Mm.
and so I want to have that flexibility, but I'm going to keep the business, but I want to have the flexibility and time to go out and do that. So I want a firm where my employees are leading the firm and doing what they want to do, and then taking it in a direction with my input that they want to do. So that's where I see myself in 5 or 10 years, kind of giving up some of the day-to-day control and letting them kind of grow into their roles as leaders and take this, a lot of it's also selfish. Like I don't want to have to be doing all the top level stuff anymore as well. So I want to have more time for myself and more time for my family, and to do things that I love to do.
Right. Well said, man. I like that. So if you weren't an attorney, what would you be doing? If you weren't practicing law anymore, where do you see Logan? Where's Logan?
Man, I don't know. And that's scary to say, because in California, there was a lot of us who thought that Uber ballot initiative that got resolved might force us to really think about that question sooner than we wanted to. But I don't know, and I think that's okay. I want to take time to just sit down and be like, hey, what can I do? I always want to do something. I have to be mentally engaged. I won't be able to do something that doesn't have my mind going. But
Mentally engaged. I like that.
I do like to have my mental engagement. I do like to have some degree of physicality. But I think I would like to be working outside, and just enjoying being outside more, because I'm stuck at a screen and a desk, and it's becoming more difficult to sit still and to look at a device all the time. I like being outside. I like being standing on my feet, walking around. So I think it would have to like a park ranger, something along the lines of that. So that is the best answer I can give you. I don't know. Something out of the top of my head, man. That's I don't know. I have to marinate on it.
You're in Montana right now, so you're close. You're right there. When you hear the term Loudr Lawyer, what does Loudr Lawyer mean to you?
When you first asked me that question off screen, the first thought that came to my head was someone who's loud. But I know that's not how you guys use it. And I think how you guys use it is to be a brand, to make sure that you are establishing yourself as an authority. You might be a disruptor. You might be the expert in this niche field. It's being true to yourself and allowing yourself to stand out amongst all the noise that we have, and to put yourself above the noise, and to do it in a responsible manner. I think that's what you guys are doing. I don't know. I could be totally off, but I think that's what you guys are trying to do, is to give lawyers an avenue to be above the noise in a responsible and authentic fashion.
No, that's well put. But I mean, in terms of how you see it from your perspective, what does the Loudr Lawyer mean to you? Like being a Loudr Lawyer.
For me, being a Loudr Lawyer is just being who you are. And if that's wearing a hat, if that's existing in anonymity and just being the guy that comes in at the 11th hour, who you hear that name and they're like, oh shit, that guy's on the case, or that woman's on the case. Or if it's being the guy on the billboard, owning it and just being who you are, having fun, because it is a stressful job, but we are very fortunate to represent people who need our help. And
Mm,
you got to have fun
indeed.
doing what you do. Otherwise, you're going to burn out real fast.
Indeed. Well said, man. Well said. And the fact that you're so accessible and you lead with compassion, that's part of being loud too. You know, that's part of being loud. All the things that I told you in your acronym with your name that you possess is being loud.
Well, I appreciate
So
that, man. That's very humbling.
so how do people find how do they find you?
So you can go on my Instagram at Quirk Accident Attorneys. Google, my YouTube is Quirk Wins. We're on TikTok, my site, quirkwins.com. Email Logan at quirklawgroup.com. So those are some various ways to find me. If you want to call us, be old school. 833 Quirk Wins is our vanity number. So we try to make ourselves accessible to anyone that needs help.
That's beautiful, man. And real quick, what made you open up? I watched your a couple of your episodes. What made you start a podcast?
I always wanted to. And this is kind of one of those things where I was on the fence about it, and it was kind of like going back to my pedicab story. I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and finally it was like, I don't have the right camera, I don't have the right microphone, I don't have blah 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 blah. It's like, Logan, get off your ass and stop making excuses and just do it. And I just wanted to talk to people and reconnect with friends primarily, because I notice, as you know, people get busy, they get families, you know, they move across states, across out of countries. And there's a lot of people I knew had good stories, and a lot of it's selfish on my part. I just wanted to reconnect with people that have made impacts on my life and have a conversation with them. And so that has been a nice little side benefit of having a podcast, is connecting with friends, and then being exposed to new contacts and having new guests that I would never have even come in touch with if I had not had a podcast. So it's been a blessing.
Oh, truly, man. Hey, you're good at it. Keep going. And thank you so much. So it was such an honor to have you here on Loudr Lawyer Network.
Raje, thank you. And I learned a lot from you today, and I'm humbled by your acronym and blessed to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hold tight.
Thanks for being a part of the Loudr Lawyer Network. If you're enjoying the conversation, let us know. Give us a like and subscribe to never miss a thing. We'll see you next time right here on the Loudr Lawyer Network.